My name is Hashim Suleiman Hussein. I am the head of the UNIDO Investment and Technology Promotion Office, and I'm also the director of the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment. Today, we're going to talk about a brief history on ARCID, the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment, which is based in the Kingdom of Bahrain. We'll have an overview on the center, and then we're going to have something about the existing environment when the centers have started, and then we will talk about what is needed to be done. Actually, in the year 2000 or 2001, when we have been working in developing what we call promotion of foreign direct investment for developing countries in order to sustain their economies and creation of jobs, there were big problems in finding what we call local entrepreneurs or domestic investment or domestic investors. They were not existing. There was no system to bring them or to see where they are and how we can develop them. I mean, young entrepreneurs. So the idea came by developing a center, and this idea came through what we call South-South cooperation between the government of India, UNIDO, and the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain. And UNIDO Investment and Technology Promotion Office in the Kingdom of Bahrain was the leader of that initiative. As I said, it was to address the gap between what we call foreign investors and the existence of local investors or local entrepreneurs. So we started working with the Indian government to look into the best modality, how we can serve startup entrepreneurs, how we can look into what we call enterprise creation, how can and where we will find startup entrepreneurs. We have to see what are their problems, what are their difficulties, how to boost them, how to build confidence on them so that they can become potential future entrepreneurs. So we made a thorough study and we looked into several countries. We looked into Turkey, we looked into Italy. Italy was an important country where we started to see and to look into the background, how family business started in Italy, how do they grow, what are the problems, what are the difficulties. Then we looked into Turkey, then we looked into India, and then we looked into a number of countries in the Middle East. We took Egypt, we took Jordan, we took Lebanon, and we took Bahrain, and we did a thorough study with ESCWA. ESCWA is the Economic and Social Commission of West Asia of the UN. And we realized and we started to see what are the real problems. What are the real problems facing SMEs in the MENA region as a whole, and taking those for specific countries. Of course, this will take us now to see what are we talking about, this Arab Regional Center. So now we're going to talk about what is the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training, ARCID. And also we're going to talk about the sample programs offered by ARCID. Now we will talk about the existing environment. As you recall, I have said that when we have started looking into ARCID, the Arab Regional Center, and when we wanted to see what are the good programs we should offer for startup entrepreneurs in the MENA region. Because when we have been looking into the situation of the enabling investment environment, we realized that we don't have a big problem for mobilizing foreign direct investment to the countries of the region, the MENA region, but the main problem was the inexistence of available local entrepreneurs. Of course, the study have shown us what are the problems, and why these problems are coming from. So it means it was leading us to the existing environment. What was the existing environment look like if we are taking the year 2000? I mean, the existing environment for the development of micro and small businesses and the availability of local entrepreneurs. Of course, number one was the demographic and economic indicators. There was a big growing number of youth. The MENA region, it is a young generations. There were problems facing these young generations. They have been going into education system. They finish their universities or they go through their vocational schools, but not finding jobs. And this was a very bad indicator that we're going to face a lot of problems in the future. I'm talking about the year 2000. And today, of course, when we see in the year 2012, we realize that the problems which we have been talking about, that it will face the MENA region for job creation, today you can see it. You can see and look into, what do they call it, the Arab Springs. The Arab Spring is talking about economic justification. They're looking for getting jobs. You know, they're looking for better positioning in the social and in the political apparatus of the country. They call it through democratic changes. But the main reasons, they are asking for their own demands, which comes from economic justification. In the year 2000, when we have been looking through that study with the ESQA, we have realized that by the year 2017, we have to create more than 100 million to 115 million jobs. And this was a very, very, very difficult number to achieve if we don't really bring very quickly programs to assist young entrepreneurs to start up their businesses and then to grow with their businesses. Then we have looked into, we found that other than the growing youth, the demographic change in the society, that the youth is growing more and more, we realized that there is a very weak entrepreneurial culture. And it's strange enough, because historically, when you talk about entrepreneurship, it started in this part of the world. You know, when you look into the old pharaohs, or you look into the Venetians, where they've been trading, even with the Scandinavian countries, the pharaohs, they went to Africa, part of Asia. They were risk takers. Then during the years, the trading routes, which was always dominated by the Arabs from the Arabian Peninsula, very well known, the Silk Route or the Pearls Route from Bahrain, to the whole Chinese small, you can say, cantons at that time, with India, with Malaysia, with countries goes to very, very, very far part of Africa and the Far East. This is all what we call entrepreneurial culture, entrepreneurial environment. But over the years, a lot of things have happened to weaken the entrepreneurial environment. Quite well during the different kind of the croisades, during the wars. It had been taking some religious affiliation, but it was all economic, looking for new trading routes, looking for new commodities to trade. So we started to change also the economic behavior of the world, because you had some of the kings, especially in some parts of the world, like in Europe, they've been looking into more commodities, more trading routes. Then it came the idea of the colonial era, that you have to go and look into raw material, okay? But it was all, during that time, it was dominated in that part of the world, what we call today the Middle East, because most of the trading routes, most of the commodities used to be traded in that part of the world. Insurance have started in that part of the world. Check, even the word check, it's called sak in Arabic, it started in that part of the world. It was the first very complex commercial activity that you don't trade with money, you don't exchange money, you exchange a paper. And it was the idea of the sak, the check, that you present that piece of paper and then you get money from it. So this shows that there was a very sophisticated and a complex trading setup and a trading environment. But over the years, things have changed. We had the Ottoman Empire. During the Ottoman Empire, which ruled most part of those countries, the things have changed. We have started to look into how to protect, the new areas that the Ottoman Empire started to rule. So they started to develop a very sophisticated and complicated civil society. So the public employee or working as a civil servant, it became as an important status in the society, and it was became a very important tool for what we call economic future protection of the family. If you have a good job with a good government title, this is why if you look into those titles like the Basha, like the Afandi, those are all important titles which have been developed and have been sustained in the Middle East even today. So we don't have that system, but the title is very important, the Basha, the Bey, the Afandi. Most of the countries of the Middle East, they still use this. Then came the colonial era, the French, the French, the British, the Germans, they brought the educational system. So in the educational system, everyone started to look for a job, that you have to go from primary school to secondary to high school to university. You have to look into the academic part of your future, that you need to be a doctor, you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a pilot, you need to be an officer. So this is in a way started to weaken the entrepreneurial culture, and we started to move away from entrepreneurial culture to go on to look into a civil servant job. This has also started to weaken what we call innovation and creativity, which is a very important part of an entrepreneurial enhancement culture. At the same time, when we have been looking into what have been happening on the existing environment, in the year 2000, of course, till today, things have changed, but it's changed also slowly and gradually. The inexistence of specialized programs on entrepreneurship, development, and supporting micro, small, and medium enterprises. What do we mean by this? We mean that there wasn't a lot of centers, a lot of programs, a lot of activities which really geared to support entrepreneurs. Even the word entrepreneur, when we talk about ARCID in the year 2000, it was not a clear terminology, entrepreneur, which is a French word, which means that someone who have the guts, who have the initiative to start an innovative idea, to materialize an idea to a real entrepreneurial enterprise. In the Arab countries, this was not existing. So as we have said earlier, historically, when we talk about entrepreneur and entrepreneurial culture, it was initiated, developed, and evolved in this part of the world, but over the years, started to fade. Okay? We have realized the fading, as I explained earlier, it was through a historical setup, through the change of the economic setups worldwide. Then if we zone it to the region, then we come and see today that we don't have specialized programs and support services to entrepreneurs. Specialized programs like programs for empowering entrepreneurs, programs which provide entrepreneurs with solutions, programs which provide support on confidence building to entrepreneurs on any project or project idea they started to look into, or a dream, how they can materialize this dream and how can they bring it into reality. Support institutions like financial institutions to help providing right support or right financial access. And here we use the word financial access than providing finance for micro, small, and medium. We have realized that we don't only have to start with small and medium businesses. No, we have to go to micro. Micro, it is a very small project, but any startup project is a micro project because it starts very small with one man or a one woman show, and then it grows gradually from micro to small to medium. There were no administrative support setups like government ministries. They were not really ready. They're not really keen to help startup entrepreneur because they don't believe that a startup entrepreneur can be serious enough, can start a project, especially if they are a self-entrepreneur, men or women. But if they are self-entrepreneurs, that they start their own idea, they start developing the idea, and they started initiating and actually operating the idea, there wasn't a lot of support from government institutions. We mean here line ministries like Ministries of Commerce, Ministries of Industry, Minister of Agriculture, where mainly they provide the first administrative support to startup companies. Of course, research and development centers in many developing countries, they are not there, and if they are not there, they're not really functioning well with support services to the communities. Technology sourcing, this is a very big problem, Anyway, all of this was part of the inexistence of specialized programs on entrepreneurship, to help gear off entrepreneurs. Then we come again also to the support institutions, because the limited support institutions targeting entrepreneurs and capacity building and technology and finance and incubation, you will see that programs are also linked to support institutions, because the inexistence of programs, and then when we look into that institutions which should be adopting or supporting these programs, either they don't exist, or sometimes if they exist, they're too weak to support entrepreneurs. So you have a dual program here. You have a program. There's a dual problem here. Sorry. One part is the programs. They're not there to really support entrepreneurs, and the other big part of it is the inexistence of these supporting institutions. We come again, we say the supporting institutions, they may vary. They can be training institutions, they be consultancy firms, institutions where they provide counseling and they provide support programs to entrepreneurs. They could be financial institutions where they provide micro, small or medium finance, and here of course there is a variety of financial institutions required with variety of programs. The programs in the financial institutions like credit lines for microfinance, developing the right finance for small businesses, to look into the guarantees loans, developing venture capital programs for access to finance, business angels, for finance, seed capital for finance. You realize that there is a variety of financial institutions are required to work together and bringing the right programs and samples of programs for access to finance. Institutions like, in universities, we target educational institutions. We should start with universities. That in universities nowadays, in so many industrialized countries, they have specialized programs toward entrepreneurship. Of course, it's part of the curriculum. It's not anymore, you just study medicine or you study engineer or you study law. No, you can, part of your program or part of your academia or educational program, to get a certificate, you can study to be an entrepreneur or to be in the big world of entrepreneurship. It could be a major, it could be a minor in your studies. Education in general, now we develop curriculum for schools, and the schools have to be from the primary schools, then you go to secondary schools, then you go to high schools. Of course, also vocational schools is a very important part in the educational system, because all our educational system, which came, mainly in developing countries after the colonial era, it was just that you have to get a degree. Since you are 4 or 5 years, you go to the educational system, and one educational system after another, from primary school or kindergarten to secondary to high school to university. All what do you study? It is to get a certificate and to find a job. To get a certificate in whatever academic degree you can get. Of course, it depends on also the average you get after high school to go to the university. Or sometimes if you didn't pass the right exam, they may send you to commercial or vocational schools. It depends, of course, on the culture in several countries. But the idea is just that to look for a job. So it means one of the most important problems and difficulties and challenge was to look into the educational system, the institution dealing with education, and how this could be changed and enhanced. Okay. Now, we have seen those are the different problems, those are the difficulties, those were the challenges in the year 2000. What is needed to be done? What we have to do today and tomorrow and after tomorrow to reverse that problem, to enhance and to ensure that we are developing the right and the enabling existing environment and the right platform to develop and nurture micro and small businesses through entrepreneurship programs. So now, what needs to be done after we talked about the problems and the difficulties? First, development of national specialized programs aimed at creating awareness and stimulating economic empowerment. Adoption of programs geared toward entrepreneurship and MSMEs development that have proven their effectiveness. Of course, counseling programs aimed at facilitating enterprises growth. Counseling is a very important tool. We'll talk about it later when we come into that part of the program. Developing, of course, linkages between what we call financial institutions and entrepreneurship programs. Because we always realize that we think that finance is the big problem for a startup of a company or even for the growth of a company. No. What we have found that the problem is not finance, is access to finance. So how can we develop the right programs to what we call support institutions for non-financial services and financial services, and how can we link them together? Of course, after you do the right setup for developing an entrepreneur, so an institution, and then you access to finance, then the project have to start. And this is what we call establishment of business incubators, as they play a key role in the development and growth of micro, small, and medium enterprises through a range of services offered through what we call incubation system. And then also we will go later on during the program to explain what do you mean by an incubation system. But if we look into, we have to look first on programs to be offered or service institutions to support bringing entrepreneurs, to bring their ideas and their dreams into a reality. Then of course, we have to go through access to finance after we do the counseling part by bringing a project idea to be viable. Those three institutions are very important before we start operation. But when we start operation, we have to come to the incubators. This is why the establishment of business incubator or business incubation systems is very important. Here we come to our topic where we started today. The topic is very close to my heart because myself, Dr. Hashim Hussein, I have started and initiated this program, which was titled as the Bahrain Arab Model for Enterprise Creation and Entrepreneurship Development, and it took an international reputation worldwide. You know, it started with an idea, started by how we can look into supporting and nurturing startup entrepreneurs and how we can grow with their enterprises. We developed a number of partnership, networking, and linkages with several countries. We came through the banner of, or the umbrella of South-South cooperation between the government of UNIDO, between UNIDO, the government of India, and the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain to start addressing the problem of entrepreneurship. And we came up with the idea by developing an institution titled the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training. The main mission statement and the main objective of this center was to look into the problems which we have been talking about and to address the problems, and then to find the solutions and how we can facilitate these solutions. I myself, Dr. Hashim Hussein, have been working on this domain for the last 20 years. To develop a real international standard program to gear off entrepreneurs and to start with these entrepreneurs from an idea to reality, and then after we bring the idea to reality, how we can grow with the enterprise. Because the big problem in enterprise development, either at the level of micro or small or medium, is not the number we start or the number we create, it's the number we sustain. 75% today of the enterprise created worldwide, they die in their first 3 years. The problem is what we have addressed. It is the same problems of the weakness of the environment, the weakness of the support institutions, the weakness or the non-existence of programs to be provided for entrepreneurs to start their businesses. All of this, we have reversed the cycle when we came in establishing the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment, which was established in the year 2001, of course, with the big support and blessing of the government of the Kingdom of Bahrain. Because at the same time, in the Kingdom of Bahrain, the there have been a lot of programs from the government, or the government was looking into how to provide the right support for the young generations in the kingdom and the region. And here where the right partnership came, with the support of the Indian government, UNIDO, and the support of the Kingdom of Bahrain, where they have provided a generous support in terms of finance and in terms of support and in terms of in-kind contribution till today for the last 12 years. This is where came to be known as the Bahrain model for enterprise development and enterprise creation. So the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training, the first aim was to facilitate new enterprise creation. Second, of course, is to facilitate enterprise growth. So as you see, we have two kinds of activities. First, to start up enterprises, to work with greenfield enterprises, that new enterprises, how we can gear it off, how we can start. And here, of course, for enterprise creation, we have to work on the human part of the entrepreneur or the potential entrepreneur. We have to, and this is maybe the revolution or the change we have developed worldwide, that in enterprise creation, before I go to the enterprise or develop the business plan or the viability of the business plan, first of all, I have to work with the person who will be creating this enterprise and who will manage this enterprise and who will leverage this enterprise. And this is why we adopt this methodology, that if I have an enterprise A and an enterprise B, I mean quality-wise, if I have an entrepreneur who is quality A and an enterprise B, or should I have an enterprise A and a quality B entrepreneur, I would say no. I will take an entrepreneur who has a quality A and enterprise quality B, because this entrepreneur of quality A will enhance the project and will develop it into quality A, not otherwise. So the main setup of the Bahrain model, which have been adapted later on by UNIDO to be the enterprise development and investment promotion, is to work with an entrepreneur. Yes, we facilitate the creation of this new enterprise, but we start with the entrepreneur. We develop the qualities of the entrepreneur. Okay? Then we work in developing the business plan, which is the viable business plan. This will gear off the startup of the enterprise. Of course, when the enterprise started to develop and started to operate well, because it is like a seed, something I plant it right, I have to give it the right direction for the sun, for the air, for the wind, I have to give it the right water, the right timing, I have to give it the right fertilizer, the right pesticide. And this is what we do when we come to enterprise growth. And this is, we do it through an incubation system, that we have to sustain this enterprise. And we did it through the Bahrain model, or the Enterprise Development and Investment Promotion Program today of UNIDO, that we really managed to do and develop the right program for facilitation of enterprise growth under ARCET, the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training. One of the most important also setups is how to promote domestic investment for leveraging foreign direct investment. As you recall, at the beginning of this session, I have said that when we started working, me as an investment expert working from Bahrain through the UNIDO Investment Technology Promotion Office, we had faced a lot of difficulties of bringing foreign investment to the countries, not because we couldn't manage of bringing the foreign investor. It was the inexistence of domestic investment platform or domestic entrepreneurs. So we have reversed the cycle, and we managed and we succeeded in reversing the cycle. Of course, through the ARCET, we started to provide the right specialized program for growth and even reaching export markets, because for a startup companies, when it start, yes, it might serve the locality, it might serve the region, it might serve the country. But then as they grow through facilitation of enterprise growth, of course, they have to look for export marketing, and they have to trade with either product or services for outside markets. Of course, develop a conducive business environment for the emergent sustainability and growth of SMEs. Now, we come to the samples, or some samples of programs offered today by ARCET, the Arab Regional Center for Investment and training in the Kingdom of Bahrain. One of the main programs is offered through what we call institutional level, that we have to work because if we only work with entrepreneurs and we don't really target the problem, and we look into the problem of either supporting institutions dealing with entrepreneurs, financial institutions, counseling institutions, technology sourcing institutions, administrative institutions, educational institutions, either to create them if they are not there, to better support and service entrepreneurs, or to support existing ones and to let them do the right work. Because if you only support and provide the programs to entrepreneurs and then you don't support the right institutions dealing with entrepreneurs, it means that we're going to have a problem after bringing an entrepreneur into reality that is not going to have the right support institutions. Of course, when we talk about the institutional level, we have to develop the right resources for enterprise creation or even for enterprise growth, because if the institution is there and then the resources or the capacity of the institution is weak, then we come to the same problem that they are not going to be doing the right thing to provide support to entrepreneurs. Of course, strategic and production management of industrial enterprises. Those are very important support setups to institutions. Industrial project identification, preparation and appraisals, which have to be done through support institutions. And of course, there is a lot could be set up and provided to institutions dealing with entrepreneurs. We're not going to get into that now, but in the future we'll bring this gradually into the program. The second important setup to be provided to entrepreneurs, it is at the entrepreneurial level, that we work directly with the entrepreneur through the RCED methodology or the EDIP program of UNIDO, which is the natural evolution of the Bahrain Arab model, is that we support entrepreneurs at the creation level. So we develop programs to help the creation of new enterprises. Then, of course, within the program, we develop programs for technology management, because most of the entrepreneurs in developing countries where there are technology seekers, we're not technology providers, so they have to know and they have to understand what type of technology they're using and how they can manage it. Of course, the quality management, even for a startup project, we always have to look into that project. It starts small, but it will have the potentiality to grow. Or it can start micro, and then it can move and migrate from micro to small, and then from small to medium. So the projects always have to be developed toward quality management prospects. Of course, control management system. This will always allow the company to grow, the enterprise to grow. This is, in sum, what is all about the UNIDO Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training. So that's all about the Arab Regional Center for Entrepreneurship and Investment Training. How it started historically, what was the mission or goal statement of RCED. In the coming chapters, we will talk about the programs of the enterprise development and investment promotion in details, how it will help startup entrepreneurs to start up their enterprises and how they can grow and growth of their enterprises. We will develop a different kind of support services. You realize that you are the viewer of this program, of the EDIP program, step by step. We will go with you from an idea, from a dream, and then how we can develop that dream to become into reality, and then how we can grow with this micro dream or micro enterprise to small and then to medium. Of course, this is a long journey, but a journey starts by one step. The step starts by providing the right information, the right feed, for the viewers, So you will be taking, or you will be accompanied step by step from an idea, how this idea could become a business plan from one point of view, and you as an entrepreneur yourself, how you will feel more confidence to develop or support this program. I mean the enterprise or the dream which you have. How you can develop it into reality. So the whole setup of RCED through the Enterprise Development and Investment Promotion Program It starts with an idea, comes from a person, a dream, building the confidence and support to that dream, and then to make a viable business, what we call calculated risk. All of this, we'll see it in the coming chapters. Thank you very much for listening, and we will going to talk again on the next chapter. Thank you.